WCCF Punta Gorda.
News Radio 1580.
Charlotte County's only news talk radio station, serving you around the clock.
And now, things you don't want to hear at the pool.
I could have sworn I seen a sign that said clothing optional. Hey, who wants to see my backflip?
And that was another episode of Things You Don't Want to Hear at the Pool.
Chrysler decides to avoid a showdown with safety regulators and go ahead and recall older model Jeeps.
You're going to have to learn to drive a real car.
Having a dog is a true pet. Having a cat, it's kind of like taking it hostage.
Dogs are my favorite pets. I mean, I like cats too, but dogs are just better.
Dogs are better than cats.
I saw a dog in a cage, and the cage had a sign on it that said, "I bite." But that's not the most important thing about you. You should make a sign that says, "I make signs."
We'll be hearing from radio's biggest name.
The government says it's not targeting Americans or people who live in this country.
No digital communications are safe.
I just think it's an intrusion of people's privacy.
I think we've gone a little far.
No, honestly, I'm not that concerned about it. I mean, if you're not doing anything wrong, what do you have to worry about?
In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
This is Charlotte County Speaks, your chance to let your voice be heard on local, state, and national issues. And now, broadcasting live from a dumpy little warehouse behind a Taco Bell, the host of Charlotte County Speaks, helping to redefeat Marxism in America, Ken Lovejoy.
News Radio 1580 WCCF. This is Charlotte County Speaks, 10:07 on a Wednesday, June 19th. Phone lines are open for you at 941-206-1580. Toll free 888-441-1580. Our email address is ccspeaks@live.com. Like our Charlotte County Speaks Facebook page and check us out streaming live on the web at WCCFAM.com. Also on iHeartRadio. We're talking about Common Core. A lot of people are talking about it. Some people will be talking about it tomorrow, and then more people will be talking about it again in September.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But if you could, how did this come about in Florida? Because Common Core goes out there and says, the Governors Association the National Governors Association is all on board with this. But not all governors are members of the National Governors Association. However, quite a lot of states got suckered into this. How many states are trying to pull back out? How did it get past the Florida legislature to be implemented here? And what is Tallahassee? Are they aware of this kind of encroachment? And are they doing anything about it? A lot of questions there. Go for it. All
right. During the severe recession of 2008-2009, many states had big budget deficits, and they all applied for a program called Race to the Top that was slipped into the 2009 Porculus stimulus bill without any congressional hearing, without any floor debate about what Race to the Top was or what these standards were going to be or anything. But states all over the country applied for this money because they were desperate for it. And they had to, in some cases, agree to adopt the standards that were in the process of being written but not finished yet. But in order to apply, they had to agree to adopt them almost sight unseen. Now, Florida adopted them in July of 2010 with a vote by the State Board of Education, which I will point out is an appointed body, not an elected body. And they did it in the summer when the legislature is not in session and when without any explanatory public hearings. They had the hearing was open where they adopted it, but they didn't tell the public or legislators or elected county school board members what they were doing. They just did it. And 45 and a half states in the District of Columbia have adopted the standards. Minnesota adopted the English, but not the math. Since then, there has been a huge backlash against this. Indiana has passed a pause bill signed by Mike Pence, and the state of Michigan legislature refused to fund Common Core and in their budget bill. And then the governors of Georgia and Pennsylvania have taken executive action to halt implementation until there is more public input and discussion of the standards and an understanding of the costs. So that's where it is. The states that never accepted it were Texas, Alaska, Nebraska, and Virginia. And then, as I said, Minnesota only accepted the English. And I was in Minnesota at the time fighting and trying to get them to not do it at all. But they at least were smart enough to understand how bad the math standards were.
All right, let's go to the phones at 941-206-1580, toll free, 888-441-1580. Hi, caller, you're on the air.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like extortion.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's, I think the federal government would make a lot of mafia extortion look like a bunch of Boy Scouts.
Unfortunately, this isn't the only issue, but you're absolutely right.
I liken it more to prostitution. You give me money, and I'll do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Well, it's I guess reverse extortion, perhaps, but none the same.
Yep.
Yep.
Well,
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, caller. You're on News Radio 1580.
Oh, good morning. Thank you. I was very unclear in Florida how this got passed. Your guest speaker kept saying they. Who are they that passed this in Florida?
It was the State Board of Education that adopted it because the executive branch made the decision. It was under Governor Christ at the time, made the decision to apply for and then accept the money for Race to the Top, which was federal.
Governor Christ, that would explain it.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. 206-1580, toll free, 888-441-1580. Tony, you had something? Oh, I thought you had a question. All right. Bill?
Well, I just wanted to point out, some are skeptical not just because it's extortion, but who would sign a contract this way? In July of 2009, the Obama administration and Education Secretary Ani Dunn come out with Race to the Top and make the requirement that they had to accept these grant monies. They had to adopt the Common Core standards. That's in July of 2009. A month before, David Coleman was appointed to develop these standards. The standards weren't developed for a year later. So who would sign a contract committing yourself to something that's not even developed and will come out a year later? That is not prudent.
It's Obamacare.
It's very Obama-esque.
It's the whole
very
thing.
Obama-esque.
So every major bill, and that's their style. You know, tell them how wonderful it is that you. And again, when you ask around to even locally, they really kind of seem clueless as to how to implement this or what the implementation process is. I don't know if they're just doing that to keep us uninformed, or whether they really are clueless as to the implementation of this.
It's hard to know. It really is hard to know.
I guess we'll find out tomorrow.
Exactly.
They'll have all their prepared notes.
But you know, it actually is different. The concept, though, is different from Obamacare. With Obamacare, the objective there was, be it good, bad, or indifferent, to get everybody health care, covered under health care insurance.
Or to nationalize the health.
Right. But the basically was to give people covered that aren't currently covered. With the educational system, though, you know, all the kids are getting educated. So there's got to be something deeper than that.
Well, they don't want the kids
here.
educated. They want them dumb. They want them to have the people perceiving that they're being educated, but they're being systematically dumbed down and indoctrinated so that they'll be easier to manipulate and control later in life. And we need all of their biometric as well as aptitude data so that we can fit them into different boxes, because not everyone's made for college. And we'll tell you which ones are going to college and which ones aren't.
I think you have to be careful, though, when you start talking. You're talking kind of conspiracy theory. Well, the problem is, though, you go in that direction, you get written off as an idiot.
Well, so what? Go ahead, write me off as an idiot, and then I'll say I told you so.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying you got to be careful how you put this forward.
I'm past the point of really caring about that, Tony, and people are waking up to that fact. This is where they're going. It started with William Ayers, and the Annenberg challenge. I mean, discuss that.
Did you just hear what Ayers just said?
Yeah, I know. Can you believe that? He wants Obama. He wants Obama tried for war crimes.
All prior presidents of the 20th century should be indicted as war criminals?
Tony, you mentioned conspiracy. By definition, conspiracy is a plan that's hidden. There's no hidden agenda here. You can go back to the 30s. Bertrand Russell, who was a proponent of the Frankfurt School, who came to America with the goal, we're going to make the West so corrupt that it stinks. He proposed, by using psychological techniques to teach the children, we'll be able to produce an unshakable conviction that snow is black.
Why do you think kids are being kicked out of school for biting their Pop-Tart into the shape of a gun? It's to brainwash them into fearing even thinking about a gun.
Tony, I disagree with your assessment of Obamacare. The pretext is about health. It's about control. The pretext about Common Core is about education. It's about control. When you want to hook kids up to devices, when you want a handful of people deciding the standards for America. By the way, our founding fathers were very careful not to make this one of the 17 powers that were given to the federal government. Because as Jefferson said, we are 50 laboratories of experiments.
I agree with that premise of control. I really do, yeah.
It does seem to be. Go ahead.
And no matter what you call it, it's failed wherever it's been
Exactly.
tried. It's not learning the lessons of history.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Because Obamacare really wasn't about providing these people with health care that couldn't afford insurance, because we could have done that for a hell of a lot less money than what this is going to cost us. The idea was to crash the private sector health industry so that the government could just turn this all into one big nationalized single-payer system. And that's why they don't care about how the poor implementation of it, because they're just going to create a scenario where say, see, it's just, it was just bigger than we thought.
Destroy the private sector.
We need to go to single payer that much quicker. And nationalizing the health care. This is the same thing. They want to nationalize our education system so that they have control. It's centralized command and control. And again, history dictates it will fail every time. Hi, caller. Are you on the air?
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, Tony, this is Frank Clancy.
Hey, Frank. Good morning.
Hi,
Morning
Frank.
to you. You're doing a great job.
How's the hip?
We're not going to do any ice skating with the Bruins of Chicago.
Okay.
Hey, look at this is lady is very informed. You know, I'm the only Democrat at the Curmudgeon Club.
I'm not so sure. I think Dave might be too. Although he's not talking. And we won't let you in their arms, so you could be the Democrat.
Yeah. So having said that, now you're talking a lot about Obamacare. We in Massachusetts had Romney Care. It's like a bipartisan deal, equal opportunity. I think the bottom line is somebody's trying to make some money on all of this.
Oh, what?
And we know that Jeb Bush is a proponent of this thing, former governor of Florida. But I think in the very end, if we think about it, what we need in this country is jobs and careers, because at the end of the day, that's what this education is all about. Would you agree?
Actually, I wouldn't agree.
Yeah.
C.S. Lewis, the great theologian, said that when training beats education, civilization dies. The purpose of education is to inculcate the values of our nation so that the next generation can maintain our republic. It is not about narrow career training, and we have got to broadly educate our children so that they can read, write, do math, understand history as teachable and knowable, and be able to maintain our liberties. The careers that they get after that are just a bonus.
That's called the liberal education.
That's right.
But in the end of the day, we all need to be productive. We need jobs and careers to do that, whether it be a doctor or a good old machinist. We all need to have that career at the end of the day, or job.
Well, you're right, but we need to educate them so that people can then choose the career path that is best for them based on their gifts and abilities, not on the decision of some standardized test or psychological profile.
Yep, you're preaching to the choir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for the call. Take another one here for the break. Hi, caller, you're on the air.
Hey, Ken, good morning. Good show today. The lady's name, I'm not sure what that is.
I'm sorry, I should repeat it more often.
Dr. Karen Ephraim.
Yeah, hi, Doctor. My question is, the state took this money, and someone said it was extortion money, and I would always agree with that. But is there any obligation of Charlotte County to accept it? And if they do accept the money, which apparently I don't know if they have or not, to implement this system, are they any different than the state board that did this over the summer last year? Basically, is there any difference there? Can we just say no, as the great words of Nancy Reagan loves?
Yes, we could. And if enough people make it clear that their elections will depend on whether they implement this or not, or whether they listen to their constituents, then perhaps they will stand up and do the right thing.
How much money in Charlotte County did locally did we take, or the government, I should say, how much did they take from the state portion of this fund in order to implement this curriculum?
To be honest, sir, I don't know. I don't know the individual amounts per county.
I think that'd be a pretty important piece of information, because obviously there's private schools, St. Charles for one, and several in the county that do a much better job at educating our kids for almost half the money. So obviously we can do without any more. They steal plenty of our money as it is, and they have more than enough to do what these private schools can obviously do for half the price. So there's really, I'm on board with all you guys. There's no reason for us to be taking the centralized control. Ken, you sound like a conspiracy theorist when you say it, but you know what? You're 100% right. It's all about putting people in boxes and keeping the money rolling into the state and federal coffers. So, I think it's real important that we find out how much Charlotte County was bribed, and that's what it is, a bribe, to implement this curriculum.
All right. Thank you much.
Thank you.
And I know that we've taken some grant money, obviously, in that article we saw for the computers, but yeah, it's a good question. I know that Charlotte County has done a pretty good job with the money that they have, because I think nationally we're at something like 11,500 per child, but here in Charlotte County I think we're under 8. I think it's closer to like 7,000, 7,500. So they have done a pretty good job with the little money that they do get, but this information would be good to have. And wouldn't that, if the state Board of Education adopted this, did the local school board have any autonomy to say no?
Theoretically, they do, but how much courage and spine they do, I don't know.
That's very important, to have people that are directing this whole program, this school district, to do what is right for the people that are expecting them to lead the system.
I would agree. And with that, we have to take a break. We'll be right back on News Radio 1580 WCCF.
Hey, motorcycle riders, got your license endorsed? Got your helmet? Got motorcycle insurance? Call Ezzy. Ezzy Insurance now has some great new plans that make it very inexpensive for you to insure that motorcycle. Ride safe with the Ezzy Insurance Agency.
Hi, this is Tyler Ezzy of Ezzy Insurance. For all your insurance needs, please give us a call. Port Charlotte, 627-9222, and Punta Gorda, 575-1110.
Building a zoo. No, it's not just about construction, and it's not just about animals. It's about your local and county government, hosted by Michael P. Hamons. It's a scintillating show that's enlightening to help you better understand our government, how it regulates and affects our day-to-day lives. Tune in to WCCF 1580 News Radio every Thursday at 11:05 for Building a Zoo with Michael P. Hamons, and to be edified.
This is a special announcement for all Americans who owe back taxes to the IRS or state. Pay attention. There is a special toll-free hotline set up especially for you. This hotline will give you free information on how you can legally reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call the Consumer Tax Hotline today at 1-800-597-7992. Grab a pen or put the number in your cell phone, but call 1-800-597-7992. When you call, you will speak with qualified companies that will tell you how to stop the collection calls, IRS letters, bank levies, and wage garnishments. Plus, these companies will deal directly with the IRS on your behalf, so you won't have to. Even if you haven't filed returns or you're already in a payment plan, you can still get relief. The current government administration is very amicable and wants to work out a program in your best interest, but this won't last forever, and your tax problem only gets worse if you do nothing or try to handle it yourself. It does make a big difference in who you call, so call the Consumer Tax Hotline today for free information. 1-800-597-7992. That's 1-800-597-7992.
This is an important announcement for anyone with or without health insurance. Pay attention. A special health insurance helpline has now been set up especially for you. Even if you have current health issues or if you have pre-existing conditions, you can now get health insurance. Grab a pen and take down this number or store it in your cell phone right now. Call 1-800-350-2122. That's 1-800-350-2122. When you call, you'll get free information. Free information that will let you know about health insurance plans that are available to all individuals and families. Medical costs are the #1 cause of bankruptcy and financial distress in our country today. But if you call this special toll-free helpline, you can easily get health insurance for you and your family. In addition, your employment and credit history are not a factor to obtaining health insurance. All adults are strongly urged to call this free health insurance helpline today. For free information, call the health insurance helpline right now at 1-800-350-2122. Don't delay. Call 1-800-350-2122 today.
News Radio 1580 WCCF. This is Charlotte County Speaks. 10:29 is the time, and we're talking Common Core. Bill, take it away. I know you got to leave here in a minute, so just kind of repeat everything that you said during the break.
Okay, a couple of issues. One is the secrecy that surrounds the development of this. First of all, we're in the third year of a 4-year implementation plan. So it's been getting implemented for the first 2 years. And we're just finding out about it. When you look at how they were developed, the deliberations were confidential throughout the process. In fact, the material now is copyrighted, so there's not much the locals can do with that material. They're stuck with it once they adopt it. They can't alter it. As far as the public input during the development process, some of the educational organizations were told they'd have the opportunity to review it and provide evidence-based feedback that the draft recommendations would not hold water. They were asked to provide evidence why they opposed them, but yet they're being implemented without ever being tested. So they were applying a standard to the public and to the educators that they themselves were not applying to the standards. The other thing is money. You know, our federal government grows bigger and bigger and bigger. And their solution to many things is just throw more money at it. If money was the solution, our schools wouldn't be having the problems that they're having. Since 1965, the federal government has spent $2 trillion on education. And achievement and high school graduation rates are basically the same as they were 40 years ago.
Hmm.
That's true.
Gosh, not a lot of bang for the buck. And again, look.
So
at
these are
higher
facts. This isn't conspiracy.
Yeah.
Again, conspiracy are facts that are hidden. They're done secretly. This is all out in the open. The far left tried this in the Clinton administration. This was a big push by Hillary Clinton. She took close to her heart the idea that we develop national standards for education. The Senate rejected that when it came before them. I believe it was 99-1. National standards, they didn't want to hear about the federal government intrusion. So what they've done was work around Congress by giving money to these private groups to develop it, and yet say they're not national standards.
No, they are. And you look, they can lie to you all they want, but I mean, we've got so much information on how poorly thought out this was, how poor the implementation is, how easy, we're 2 years into it, how easy is it going to be to get out of this? And how much pushback are you going to be getting, even though this is a right-to-work state, you're still going to be getting a bunch of pushback from a bunch of teachers' union types.
Well, I'm a big believer in doing what is right regardless. Only 30% of the population wanted the American Revolution and still did it. I'm a student of the Bible, and there's Gideon, and there's, all sorts of stories of small bands doing what they thought was right and what God directed them to do, and that's what I'm going to do. But our coalition is growing across the state. There are a ton of different groups, and the opposition to this is actually from many points on the philosophical and political spectra. And the teachers are starting to understand how this is going to hurt them as well. And Democrats are starting to listen to them. If you look at what happened in Pennsylvania, that pause was instigated by Democrat senators and a Democrat governor.
All right. Hi, caller. You're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Denise Garbusy. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Denise Garbusy, and I just wanted to, I'm calling in to mention the rally tomorrow. We would actually like people to be in front of the school and standing with us by 12. If they get there at 12:30, we're just not going to have enough time. So I was just asking if people could come in at 12 and not 12:30, and it's at Port Charlotte High School.
Okay.
And that high school is specifically where?
This is going to be at Port Charlotte High School auditorium.
8900 Murdoch.
18,200 Cochrane Boulevard.
Yeah, that's Cochrane. That's Cochrane west of 41, then, right?
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
And we are going to have people there to help you direct for parking and to help you, and some signs and things too, for parking, and make sure that you know that you're in the right place.
All right. High noon, Port Charlotte High School.
That's right. Thanks very much.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Hi, caller. You're on News Radio 1580.
Hey, Ken.
Hey.
It's Riley.
Hey, Riley.
How are you today, buddy?
Good. How's it going?
Very good. Hey, I just would throw my 2 cents in, and as a citizen and as an employee of the school board, when the superintendent and the school board are sworn in, they swear to uphold the laws of the state of Florida. Mm-hmm. The Common Core is a law that was brought in by the governor, and the legislature passed this law. If the district chose not to implement this and theoretically stood up against it, the state board would come in, which is appointed by the governor, and they would take control of our schools.
Every school district in the state?
You're sworn to follow the laws. The school boards, when they're elected, the school board members, when the superintendent's sworn in, they swear to obey the law of the state.
Here we go.
Excuse me just a second.
If they refused and stood down, the State Board of Education would come in. It's just like schools when districts run into big financial problems. If you don't have so much of a reserve, the state can come in and take over the school.
Sure.
And what they would do is they would send someone here to take over our school district who would follow the law that they pass.
All right.
So
But there seems to be, there's a question here, though, Mike.
My thing is I think this needs to be directed at our legislature and our government.
I would agree. I would agree, and that's what we're
But
talking about. I was just wondering what
the elected school board members, if they stood up and said we're not enacting this, they would be removed from office by the state.
But regardless, we've heard
that is still no reason to do the wrong thing.
Well, but again, regardless, we haven't heard any opinions one way or the other on Common Core from the school board.
FCAT, when FCAT testing came in, it was something that we didn't bring in. And
well,
now
I'm not saying you did, Mike. What I'm saying is, how do we get out of this mess?
Session, there's 250 education bills by legislators across the state.
All right, Ms. Efron, if you could again, you suggested that this law was passed by the state school board and not the legislature in Tallahassee.
No,
let's talk about this a second. The state school board adopted the standards, okay? They adopted the standards. In the last legislative session, the legislature passed the education funding bill, Senate Bill 1076. That says, the State Board of Education shall adopt rules establishing an implementation schedule to transition from FCAT reading, writing, math, blah, blah, to Common Core assessments. The schedule must take into consideration funding, sufficient field and baseline data, access to assessments, instructional alignment, and school district readiness to administer the Common Core assessments online. At the very minimum, the districts can assert their readiness or not readiness to do this, which can include the fact that their duly elected board is answering to their own constituents about doing it. That's one thing. And there's another law that passed that says that full implementation of online assessments for next generation Sunshine State standards for all kindergarten through grade 12 public schools shall occur only after technology, infrastructure, connectivity, and capacity of all public schools and school districts have been load tested and independently verified as ready for successful deployment and implementation. So there is another way that districts can let the state know, what it's going to cost to do this is more than we have.
We realize that. And also, again, you're talking about the state board, which is appointed by the government.
Right. Yeah.
By the governor
Appointed,
himself. They're not
elected
by the people. They're appointed by the governor.
And that's why...
the very point I was making. And yes, you're right. We do have to deal with the legislature, and that's what we will be working to do this year.
We feel like, we're the school district here. I've been here 33 years, and I've been a part of it my life, and we're about the kids. I'm not here to try and, change kids' minds from what their parents think or anything like that.
No,
I don't
we
think
know
anybody
you're
is.
not. But we're saying that's where it's leading.
We have to follow the law. And this is a law that the state board recommended that the legislature passed. So, that's what we're doing. I think that you're right to be up in arms if you're upset about it. I respect that and think that's right, but I think that it's the voices need to be up in Tallahassee talking to Mr. Roberson or Senator Dietert or some of those folks that voted for this. That's where I think that this needs to be directed, and I could be wrong, but that is just my opinion.
I think you've got to start at the local level, and you've got to get the school board on the same page with their constituents that they're representing. What you're suggesting is that you can't hold the school board accountable in any way because they don't have any power anyway about this. They're just going along to get along, and thereby that makes the point that I've been making, that if this school board is so powerless. Why are we paying these guys? Why are we electing them and paying them $30,000 a year when they're just sitting there as a kind of a paper shuffler?
I think we've got two things here we could consider. Number one, what is the position of the school board? And secondly, then you talk about implementation by law and so forth. Mm-hmm. But there, you can't take a position against what people are attempting to make you do.
I agree with you on that, and I guess what it will be is if you've got 140,000 people in our community, and you have to see how many of those 140,000 are against it.
But has the school board taken a position?
I mean, we've been implementing this for 2 years now.
The school board hasn't done anything to inform the public, and yes, they're having the meeting tomorrow, which we commend, but they're basically not letting the public answer any questions, and it's basically going to be pronouncements from on high. That is not the way to figure things out.
My understanding is if you would call one of the board members to have a conversation, I believe that they're open to that and have always been.
That's not the same as informing the large percentage of the public about something that is going to radically affect the education, graduation, and careers of the entire school district.
Right. Well, I think that tomorrow's the start, and I think that, to see how that goes and for everyone, and then move forward from there. I don't think what you're doing is wrong. I'm not against it. Everyone has their own opinion, on their own child and everybody else's education. There's no question about that, and I think it's open, for civil debate. But again, I just wanted to make the point that we did not invent this and bring this here, and Dr. Whitaker again is bound by law, just like you're bound, Ken, by the FCC, and if you violate that, they're going to come in and take action against you.
And like I said, if you've heard me and Dr. Whitaker on the show, I want to give you guys more autonomy. I want to give the local school boards more power and control.
That's what he asked our area legislators. The last two legislative delegation sessions, when they said, "What can we do for you?" He said, "Please, leave us alone. We've done everything you've asked it to do. We've put into action all the unfunded mandates you sent down to us. Let us fly. If we don't do a good job, clip our wings." But they honestly can't keep their hands off of the schools. And I'm a strong supporter of local autonomy. There's no question.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway,
so we're on the same page on some of this stuff.
Conversation. I think it's good. I really do.
All right, and I'm also looking forward. Let's give a shameless plug for the Boogeyman coming up on the 4th of July at Lashley Park.
You are shameless.
It's going to be a good time, man. It's going to be a great day.
It'll be a great time. It will. Thanks so much, Ken. Thanks for your show, too.
All right, bye-bye. We'll take another quick break, get that out of the way, and be back on News Radio 1580 WCCF.
So, as usual, I was being my typical self, and I overheard the boss say that we have job openings in our sales department. So if you're looking for an incredible place to work and you want to have a lot of fun working with some awesome people, fax us your resume right now to 941-206-9296. That's 941-206-9296, and I will personally hand deliver your resume to our boss, myself. So if you're looking for an incredible job, just fax us your resume or visit our station website at WCCFAM.com.
The League of American Bicyclists reminds you that bicycles are vehicles with the same rights, rules, and responsibilities of other road users. Only pass a bicycle when it's safe to do so and allow the cyclist 3 feet of passing room. Bicycle riders have the same rights as motorists and should obey all traffic laws, stop signs, and traffic lights, and laws require bicycles to have lights at night, and common sense requires cyclists to wear helmets. Whether you ride or drive, please share the road.
Okay, so you want to lose weight, and with summer right around the corner, you need something that works and works fast. That's why Nutrisystem makes sense. That's right, Nutrisystem. It's delicious, real food. Meals prepared and planned for you to eat each and every day, delivered right to you, so you can eat great and lose the weight. And now here's the best part. You can try Nutrisystem absolutely risk-free. That's right, if you don't lose weight, you don't pay. Just call 1-800-432-0241. That's 1-800-432-0241. With Nutrisystem, it's so easy easy. You eat great tasting food and lose weight. Get 4 perfectly portioned meals a day. Pizza, pasta, burgers, even ice cream. Delivered to you immediately. So call Nutrisystem today at 1-800-432-0241. Come on, you have nothing to lose but weight. Nutrisystem is guaranteed to work. Call 1-800-432-0241. That's 1-800-432-0241.
On Nutrisystem, expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Call to cancel within 14 days. Return food for a full refund. Guaranteed good on first 28-day order only. Limit 1 per customer. Restrictions apply. Call or see website for details.
This is a special alert to all Americans who are behind on their taxes or haven't sent out prior year tax returns. If you owe back taxes, you're now eligible to settle that debt with the IRS for much less than what you owe. For free information, call National Tax Relief today. 1-800-652-7313. Millions of taxpayers are now legally eligible to settle their tax liability for a fraction of what they owe. Act now on this limited time opportunity or risk wage garnishment, bank levies, outrageous penalties and fees, and property seizure. National Tax Relief partner firms specialize in tax settlements. When you call, you'll be matched with experts who are former IRS agents with insider knowledge of the system, which makes a substantial difference as they resolve your tax debt directly with the IRS. Call 1-800-652-7313. There's a limited amount of time that could be available to where the government will accept tax settlements, so you must act now. Call National Tax Relief today. 1-800-652-7313. 1-800-652-7313.
If I could afford to expand my staff, I'd hire Lovejoy as an unpaid intern. In the meantime, check out the Schnitt Show this afternoon at 3 on News Radio 1580 WCCF.
Here comes your watchdog on Wall Street. It's Chris Markowski and the Watchdog on Wall Street Money Minute.
This is Chris Markowski, your Watchdog on Wall Street, and this is your Watchdog on Wall Street Money Minute. Real interesting story coming out in regards to a Fox News contributor. He is a stock market guru, according to Fox News, by the name of Tobin Smith. Tobin Smith received $50,000 to go on air and to tout a stock. First and foremost, this is really nothing new. I remember on CNBC way back when there used to be a guy by the name of Dan Dorfman. He would give a report at like 12 noon on various different stocks, and as it turned out, he ended up trading in some of these things after he touted them. All of these people that go on air and tell you that they're smart and they give recommendations are liars, they're fools, they're cheats. And honestly, Fox News should be ashamed of themselves as far as their business reporting is concerned.
That was your Watchdog on Wall Street Money Minute. For more info on Chris, log on to watchdogonwallstreet.com.
News Radio 1580 WCCF. This is Charlotte County Speaks at 10:48 on a Wednesday. Common Core is the issue. Phone lines are open at 941-206-1580. Toll free 888-441-1580. Ms. Efron, you've got some information about the impact on teachers that Common Core is having.
Teachers are really concerned. You know, there's the conservative education reformers have used this and the whole race to the top idea as a way to break the power of the teachers union, which is understandably and concerningly large. But individual teachers who very much want to practice their craft and care about our kids and teach well are leaving in droves in frustration because they are forced to teach scripted lessons. They're forced to teach things like the Gettysburg Address without context to, quote, level the playing field, unquote. So they're using the Gettysburg Address to do social justice. They don't want anybody to have any extra
any of
background.
The historical context as to why the speech was given and where it was given.
Right. And teachers are being intimidated. They're teachers in the, one quote I have, teachers in the school system are afraid of losing their job if they speak out against Common Core and the policies of the district. I'm not saying that's this district, but it's going on all over the country, and teachers are very concerned. And even the unions that initially were pro the idea of the Common Core standards are saying, you're asking us to implement this right away and have high stakes tests without giving us adequate professional development and doing tests that test on material that isn't even in our curriculum. And the curriculum, frankly, isn't developed yet. And so a lot of schools and maybe even the states are starting to resort to this federally funded model curriculum or use the examples in the Common Core standards, the text examples, even controversial things like In the Time of the Butterflies by Julia Alvarez, which glorifies Castro and his brothers and is sexually explicit and treats men as weak drunkards. So, the proponents say, well, it's not, the standards don't determine curriculum. No, the standards don't, but the tests do.
So if the test determines curriculum and the test outcomes equal money,
right,
people are going to wind up teaching to the test, which means you're going to be forced into a certain curriculum.
Yeah, this is FCAT on steroids. Everybody was complaining about the FCAT and how everybody had to teach to the test. This will be orders of magnitude worse.
But that's what they want.
Of course, that's
because
what they want.
Because if you're forced to teach the curriculum, so teach the test,
right?
You're going to be forced to teach the curriculum,
right? Which
means national curriculum,
right? And there was actually one large group.
Even though we're being told that, oh no,
yeah,
you guys get to choose your own curriculum.
There was actually a group that teaches gifted children, an association of teachers for gifted children, that came right out and said this is the national curriculum. So it's not.
Is there any way to salvage this thing, or is it totally a disaster?
Well, why would you want? I don't think it should be salvaged because again, nationalization and centralized command and control of our education system is wrong. Department of Education, it's an unconstitutional department. It shouldn't be there.
Absolutely.
It should be removed, and that money could then filter down because the bureaucracy that they've created with the Department of Education, all that money's locked up there. It never winds up getting to where it's supposed to go.
You're right.
You're
right.
And again, this is it's a bad idea. We need to return education back to the states and have state and local control on this, not federal.
Yep. And there are efforts in Congress to defund Race to the Top and the Common Core. There are efforts to return control to states and local districts. And in fact, Congressman Radel has signed on to one of those bills, H.R. 2089. So it's starting.
Good. Hi, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning. How are you today?
Good.
I'm confused. If the teachers are upset with this, and we all know that the teachers in Obama, 9 out of 10 have been win for Obama, or Obama has the teachers in his pocket, has helped with the election, all that, why would they be so afraid to talk to the man? Tell him this isn't working. We don't want this. Why would they be...
It's not so much
stepping down,
Obama,
so to
it's
speak?
their local, because not every state's right to work.
Well,
Okay.
there has definitely been a rift between the teachers union and the Obama administration on some of this, on the whole Race to the Top, and requiring teacher pay and tenure reforms as part of the grant money. And there's a rift. The Bill Gates Foundation and teachers are not getting along very well about this either. And even Randy Weingarten, who's the head of AFT, the American Federation of Teachers, which is the second largest union, has expressed concern to the point of at least saying we can't make this high stakes yet.
Well, don't you feel now that homeschool will be up on the uprise, and would homeschool now have to conform to this national standardization?
Well, the problem is that the GED and the ACT and SAT college entrance exams are being conformed to this. So homeschoolers are going to have to either find a different way or go to private colleges that don't demand this, or do something outside of the system, or they're going to have to get trained to pass the test.
Teach to the test, then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, after their
but not
regular
necessarily
homeschooling.
do
Yeah.
the full curriculum.
Very good. Thank you for your answer. Good luck. God bless America. We need it.
Thank you. Come to the rally tomorrow.
High noon, Port Charlotte High School. So there.
All right.
206-1580, toll free, 888-441-1580. It's good that some the teachers that aren't speaking out that would like to are feeling intimidated by their local teachers unions and by
and the district
and the districts. Not here. I haven't heard anything here because I've actually talked to some teachers that really aren't on board with this whole thing. But I would imagine in some, again, heavily unionized states where teachers unions have the heavy hand over the teachers, I would imagine that they might feel a little bit intimidated.
We've had some conversation about the cost of this, too. Let's remember, though, that no matter what it costs, if it's the wrong thing to do, it's not, the cost isn't relevant. If it's wrong.
And cost is never relevant in regards to education, because no matter how much money you throw at it, we're not getting increased outcomes.
Right. Absolutely.
That's right.
Hi, caller. You're on the air. Hello. Yeah, bye. 206-1580, toll free, 888-441-1580. Few minutes left. And so, again, I guess it's all about educating the people about Common Core, what it is, what it isn't. We'll find out tomorrow, I think.
Why don't we hype that some more
points
about what's going on tomorrow?
I don't think everybody's invited to the actual information.
Actually, the paper said.
Oh, everyone?
Yeah, Sunday, okay. I got the paper. This is from Sunday, June the 9th.
Okay.
At 1 p.m., June 20th, at Port Charlotte High School's auditorium, the public is welcome to a special informational workshop concerning Common Core that could shed some light on concerns. The workshop is intended for the school board and senior staff, but the executive committees of the local Republican and Democratic parties have been invited. District Superintendent Doug Whitaker said that there may be time for a question and answer session, but it's not intended to turn into a free-for-all.
Yeah, they really want meaningful public input.
1 o'clock tomorrow. I guess there's going to be a demonstration. Apparently, they want to start it at noon.
Oh yeah, the people who aren't in favor of Common Core will be protesting out front of Port Charlotte High School. High noon is when you need to be there.
That's right. And if people want information, they can email to flstopcc@gmail.com. That's flstopcc@gmail.com. And they can also go to our Facebook page, which is FL Stop CC Coalition.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. And we'll look at Curmudgeons next month.
All righty.
Again, the old guys will be back.
Folks, we'll be back again tomorrow. Have a beautiful day, and we'll talk to you again soon on News Radio 1580 WCCF.
Anybody got any more jokes? Anything funny? No? No? All right. See you, folks.
WCCF Punta Gorda.
News Radio 1580.
Charlotte County's only news talk radio station, serving you around the clock.